Okay, we're moving into part 3 of chapter 7, examining the area of the legend of map unit, data map unit objects. And I want to point out once again the importance of not copying and pasting a data map unit. And the reason why you do not copy and paste the data map unit is because you get the legacy information. And we want clean data, such as this set of information here. So just be aware of that. Now then, from the map unit, if you remember, I found the particular correlation record for that particular data map unit. And I said, find me that related selected row of the data map unit table. And I clicked OK. And it brought me over here to this particular record. So I'm going to start right here and take a look at some of this information in this particular data. Okay, I'm going to try to clean up some of this so that we can focus just on this particular one. And there's 1,000,001 ways I could do this. But one of the things that I want to show you is I can come into the table editor and I can remove these selected rows from the selected set. I highlighted them, and all I'm going to do is click yes and OK. And this is going to take these set of records out of my selected set. They're still in my local database. They're just no longer in my selected set. So that takes care of that one. And you'll notice I've got a few more to do. I'm going to use the icon this time. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to remove these. I've already showed you how I can bring them back by just going to the correlation table and bringing that one back. But more importantly, what I want to do now is talk about the child tables that are within the data map unit object. First one we're going to discuss in this part is going to be the component, and it's all its child records. And then we'll have another video on the horizon. Now, I'm going to, once again, you've seen me do this time and again. I do a best fit all columns so that it makes it a little bit easier for you to see. And I don't like the sequence number. There's no reason to populate this field. Sequence number was meant to override the default sort on a table, period, whichever table you want to use. And as you can tell, the default sort on the component table is the RV comp percent in a descending order. So there's no reason to have sequence number there. Now you've got the component name, the local phase, taxon kind, and you can scroll across here and you can see all the information that's needed to be populated for a particular set of data. And as we scroll across here, you'll notice I've just lost my component. I'm going to right click and I'm going to freeze this column so I can keep that. And now as I scroll across, you can see all the information that's been basically from NI or National Instruction 305. This is the set of information that we've deemed as appropriate to be populated for all components. And you can scroll through this list. You can see all the different types. If ever you have a question as far as what is the particular field, you can right click and do a view information and use your help to be able to explain what that particular field is. If you want information on how to populate the field, then go to National Soils Handbook 618. Here are the variety, the many various child tables that we've got for the component table. And so with the component table, you've got the horizon directly below it. We'll discuss that here in another video. You also have the canopy cover, the crop yields, the diagnostic features, the ecological site, the erosion accelerated, existing plants. All of these are additional tables, child tables, a one-to-many relationship, meaning that you can have a multiple canopy cover, not on this particular soil, but you can have multiple plants for that one particular component. You can have multiple crop yields for that particular component. You can have multiple diagnostic features for that one particular table. And that's the reason why you see so many child tables is because they are designed to allow you to put in more than one record for that particular single record. So we can scroll through this and you can see how this information is populated. And a lot of it's populated based off of choice lists, domains that we've created. So I hope this gives you a pretty good handle on the fields that are available to you to populate and where they occur. For example, one of the things I need to point out are these group tables. A parent material group table is a table that identifies that anytime you see group, you know that there's a child table associated with it that you have to populate in order to calculate or populate that particular parent table. So if you look at this, we've got data map unit as a parent, component is a child of data map unit, parent material group is a child of component, and the component parent material is a child of the parent material group. And the reason why it's a child, it's a one-to-many relationship, meaning that you can have more than one parent materials identified for that particular component. And so if we had less over till, those are two different parent materials, and then we would calculate the results for the parent material group name that would then go for the Crete soil. And that's the reason why it's done that way. So that should give you a better idea on why we have these child tables. And you can see there are a lot of child tables that are to be populated for each one of these particular components. So the next thing that we're going to discuss, let's go over to the horizon table. And let's talk about the horizon table. Now, the horizon table is a misnomer. It's truly not a horizon table as you would identify horizons when writing a PET-ON description. In the old database, it was referred to as the layer table, and that's more of an appropriate name for this than horizons. We do allow you to put in the designations. And you can see here it's got an AP, a BA, a BT1, a BT2, and a BT and a BK. However, keep in mind that what you're dealing with here is the aggregated set of a population. So you got to look at every Crete that you've sampled, every Crete that you've written a PET-ON description on, and you then have to aggregate that. And what you're telling me here is, does every single one of those Cretes have an AP, a BA, a BT1, a BT2, and a BK? And you know as well as I do, that's not true, because we are not usually that homogeneous on all of our soils. But here's a good method that allows you to go in there and say, you know, as I look at all of these Cretes, this is how I want to represent this to the public. And I'm going to assign this. And I'm going to say that the AP is a significant feature. And if it was, we'd kind of want up here in the interpretive focus, we'd put in cropland so that we would know that this is a representative for cropland. We could do that. We could also use the local phase if it came down to it. We had multiple types of soils that we wanted to represent. We could have a Crete that was cropland, we could have a Crete that's rangeland, or a Crete that's forested, and identify the percentages thereof. It's some new ways of manipulating our data to be able to show it. Not always perfect, but it at least provides people a set of properties associated with that particular interpretive focus that we wanted to be on. Whether you put the interpretive focus here, or if you came out and put it down here and said, for this Crete, yeah, I'm going to identify the cropland soil properties, and those cropland features begin with the designation AP. And now you can see that I have the ability to manipulate my data to be able to best represent what my customers are wanting. And you can see right here that if you did have multiple components, the reason why you would put the local phase in as cropland and rangeland or forestland is because typically we don't use the cover kind 1 as a reportable feature whenever we print out manuscript reports. And so what would end up happening is if you didn't do that, you'd have a CREAT component and a CREAT component, and you would not be able to identify what the phase criteria was. So yeah, you typically don't want to duplicate stuff, but this is a case where we don't put the cover kind 1 in the manuscript reports, but we do put the local phase in. So be it. So I'm going to end here, and I'm going to next video is going to be strictly on the horizons, and we'll talk about that in the next video.